What was Benjamin Franklin's reply to people when asked what type of government the Founding Fathers had created? He answered, "A republic. If we can keep it." It was understood by the founders, and Americans in general, that this drastic experiment of making the government accountable to the people, could eventually fail. John Adams warned that, "Our Constitution was brought into existence for a moral and religious people." The founders knew that if the American people, sometime in the future, lost what biblically based morality they possessed, no greatness in population, territory, wealth, or strength, could prevent the fall of America. This deep understanding of America's impermanence came in large part from the study of Roman history by the founders during the formation of its government. Overall, the American Republic was largely modeled after the government of the original Roman Republic. Founders Alexander Hamilton, John Jay, and James Madison signed their Federalist essays supporting the ratification of the Constitution with the pseudonym Publius, after the Roman Publius Valerius, who helped found the Roman Republic in 509 BC. In early America, George Washington looked to Cato and Cicero, both prominent Roman statesmen, for inspiration. They tried unsuccessfully during their lives to defend the Roman Republic from oncoming tyranny. Later, even the architecture of America's capital was designed to evoke scenes of ancient Rome. However, along with inspiration from ancient Rome, came a warning. The Founding Fathers of America realized that the new American Republic's greatest threat, like Rome's, would come from within itself. After nearly 500 years of existence, the Roman Republic was rich and powerful. Its wars of conquest in Africa, Europe, and Greece wreaked havoc on its foes, while great quantities of plundered wealth and slaves poured into the Republic. However, even with those favorable circumstances, the Roman people squandered their freedoms and stopped sacrificing of themselves in order to uphold self-government. Meanwhile, they, along with their government, became corrupt and evil. Rome was still the superpower of the known world, yet it fell to rigged elections, systemic bribery, pandering to mobs, and ultimately, civil war. Faced with the perpetual choice between freedom or security, the people opted for the latter. Unable to control themselves, they allowed Julius Caesar to rise to power and impose order on the res publica, the affairs of the people, by abolishing freedoms. What was then left of the Republic? The Senate warred against Caesar, but was defeated. Cato, who embodied Rome's ancient way, and its version of virtue, chose to die via suicide, rather than submit to dictatorship. His death symbolized the death of the Republic, as it, too, had committed suicide. This ancient warning from Rome was wisely embedded into America's foundation by the founders. However, the Romans could not keep the warning. Could the Americans do better? Under the Caesars, dictatorial Rome conquered additional territory, gained additional wealth, and wielded superior force for 2 more centuries. Virgil, Ovid, and other poets called Rome, Urbs Aeterna, the Eternal City. Celebrating in AD 248 with games, drink, and more, Rome achieved a millennium in existence, a first in world history. The very next year, its emperor was dead on the battlefield. And for the next 40 years Rome was racked with intrigue, corruption, murder, and worse. With an emperor falling every 2 years, and with more non-Roman warrior emperors than Roman emperors ruling the empire. Yet, even with all of that happening, the Roman Empire lurched on for 2 more centuries, until the shell cracked, and the rotting personal character, of which the empire was made of, could no longer hold up. Romulus Augustus, richly named after both the founder of Rome and the founder of the empire, lost both to the Germanic king in AD 476. The question is, what was the main reason Rome fell when it did? The answer to that question comes from the maker of empires, God himself. In the Bible, God foretold of the rise and fall of the empires of the West, including Rome, in surprising detail. In the book of Revelation, God prophesied of Rome's repeated resurrection attempts to continue all the way into the 21st century. In the books of Genesis, Leviticus, and Jeremiah, God specifically prophesied the rise and fall of both the British and American nations. God has plainly stated that America will not keep its republic. America's character has fallen. The American ideal of government is falling, and America, as a world superpower, will also fall. God is working out a plan though, for America, and all the nations. A plan affecting the mightiest of powers, to the smallest of states. If we, as a people, would just allow ourselves to be taught by millenniums of tragic history, and by prophecies for the near future, we would learn that all nations need good, and just, government. The brightest hope for that in modern history though, the United States, has gone dark. That fact leaves us with only one conclusion, the conclusion taught by the Bible, and the one taught by mankind's sordid history, from beginning to end. Whether through monarchies, empires, republics, oligarchies, dictatorship, or other experiments, mankind has no ability to properly govern itself, never has, never will. People need an empire not of the people, or by the people, but truly, for the people. They need the first, and only empire, that will be measured not just in 1 or 2 millenniums, but in millenniums without number, governed from a truly eternal city by the only king fit to be king. We need Daniel chapter 2 verse 44 to be fulfilled. And in the days of those kings the God of heaven will set up a kingdom which will never be destroyed, and that kingdom will not be left for another people. It will crush and put an end to all these kingdoms, but it will itself endure forever. Current events taking place in America indicate that the fall, and ultimately, the end, is near. Let us all hope and pray for the hastening of the beginning that will follow that end.